welcome back to Self-Love Ignited. Today on the podcast, I am interviewing Chandra Gore, and we are talking about so much juicy stuff. We're talking self-love and owning who you are and owning your body at any size. She gets really frank about her challenges with mental illness, abusive relationships, and really just opens up. Chandra is also a comedian, and there is so much laughter and positivity in this episode. Chandra has been working as an entrepreneur since 2013, and she's worked with entrepreneurs to help them create foundations for success through her boutique consulting and public relations firm. She also heads a production company called SCM Productions, which produces live comedic events and an upcoming comedy series. She is an author of several books, moderator, and speaker on topics such as business strategies, media relations, and entrepreneurship. Chandra is just an absolutely incredible human being. She has so much wisdom to share, and I cannot wait for you to dive in. Welcome to the podcast. I'm so happy to have you here.
I'm happy to be here.
So I think the best place to start is for you to just take a moment and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you and who you are and where you are and what makes you unique.
Well, my name is Chandra. I'm from Stafford, Virginia. I am a consultant and publicist, and I love what I do. It's a passion of mine. But I also love my community as well. So I'm always working within the community to try to share information and get stuff out there. And the one thing that kind of makes me unique is I really don't have a filter. And I will laugh, like I will find the humor in any kind of situation. So it's just part of my personality. Like I will always keep a smile on my face, even though something horrible can be happening. And it's not that I'm being insensitive. It's just that sometimes a smile will ease you into, it just eases the tension. So yes, that's what makes me unique because,
That's awesome. That's awesome. And you do have a really beautiful smile. You have like one of those infectious smiles.
Thank you. Thank you. That is something that I've tried to always have. And, it makes me, even when I'm angry, I laugh. So it's like kind of weird because people don't really know I'm really angry. And so I appear as a psycho. So no offense to psychos, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm really angry, but I'm laughing. So it's confusing. So yeah.
Oh my God. You're hilarious. Okay, so the podcast is called Self-Love Ignited, right? So we're talking all about self-love and your relationship with both yourself and your body. So I would love to hear sort of your story, the challenges that you've had. Like, where did these challenges start? What did that challenge look like for you?
Okay. My body and myself, sometimes we argue, but I've I've always had a love-hate relationship with my body and and it's not because of me personally, it's because of things that other people have said. I've been small, I've been big, I've been, I've been a larger size woman. I'm larger size now and I'm comfortable, but when I was smaller, I was comfortable, but it's a toss-up because they'll say something when you're skinny, they'll say something when you're plus size. So it's always been a love-hate relationship because I've actually finally gotten to the point where I love myself in spite of what people's perception of a larger size person. Like, I know I can lose weight, but they can't lose that ugly inside. So I had to adjust my thinking process into loving all of me. Even if there's a lot of me or a little bit of me, I gotta love it all. So yeah. It actually, like, I had to think about, after we talked the last time, I thought about it. And even in high school, when I moved from South Carolina to Virginia, I was chubby. I had baby fat, as they call it in the South. You never lose your baby fat. But I'm 15. I'm not a baby, but okay.
Yeah.
So when I got to Virginia, I noticed I was larger than the other kids. So that turned into, there's some other stuff that happened that made me focus on not eating and exercising excessively. So I got really, really small. And when I went back to South Carolina, the first thing they asked was, "Are you sick?" Wait, pause.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute. So I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. So it was like, that's where like a lot of the issues that I had actually start. I had to pinpoint it. And then, growing up, getting through my marriage, and my weight fluctuated, and I had issues with, family members, or his family members saying things about my weight after I had a baby. And that kind of played in the back of my mind, because he didn't stand up for me and say, "You can't say that to her. She just had my child." Like, "Sir, you did this too. Now, I just had a whole human, and you're going to let, so it's like, but I went through that process, and then becoming an entrepreneur and having to take pictures, whew, touchy subject for me, because I never wanted to take pictures, because I had someone actually say, if you lost weight, people would receive you better. And I'm like, oh, okay. So you mean to tell me that Photoshop doesn't exist? Y'all can just Photoshop, not just surprise people when I get there, but that's besides the point. Like, that wasn't an option, but I realized then that I had to accept me for me, because other people around me, were outside of me, were not going to do that. So I'm here at this point now where I love me. I'm the holly jolly me. Like, let me be me. I'm loving every part of me. Like, I'm okay. I know I have some changes to make, and I can slim down, but if it happens, it happens. I'm not going to, I drive past gyms, I'm not going to go in it. So
yeah. So that's pretty incredible. That, I mean, you've gone from a 15-year-old who's being told either, you're not okay this way, and you're not okay the other way, right? Like you said, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
Right.
And then you ended up in a marriage where you weren't really supported, and you were getting that criticism again.
Yeah.
Right. And here you are now, like the most confident, vibrant person. How did that happen? Tell us about like that transition, because that's a big one.
You know what? Realizing that it has to start with that person in the mirror. Like, you really had to take a moment, and I had to have a come to Jesus meeting with myself, and literally hurt my feelings. And I think that it was within that moment that I realized, like, I'm good at what I do. Why am I putting so much emphasis on the way I look? Even, my mind is what's doing the work. Like, if they saw my brain will be gorgeous, okay? Because it is amazing. But I was putting the exterior, my issues with my weight and all that other stuff, like making other people's issues mine. So I had to hurt my feelings and understand. I had to tell myself, like, that's none of your business what they think about you. That's none of your business how they want you to look.
Yeah.
This is the way you are, So, and I finally, the minute that I did that, everything opened up for me. Like, I'm just like, now we're stuck in the house, and we wearing sweatpants and t-shirts, and let's see, like, but I think it was one of the greatest things that happened to me, because it's where I really fell in love with myself. And it feels good. Like, it is. When I get dressed, I'm getting dressed for me, and I'm loving, like this is what I'm going to wear, and I feel good. I don't care if the sweatpants and a tank top. I'm getting dressed for me, and it makes me feel good. So yeah, like, getting to this point was a long road, but it was worth the journey. So
yeah,
yep, you just gotta, like, when you wear the best t-shirts and sweatpants that you want to wear, just own how you look, and own that this is your body. You only get one body. So love it.
Isn't that really it though? It's just owning it. Whatever,
Yep.
like, whether you're a size 2 or whether you're a size 22 or anywhere in between, like, it's just about owning who you are and being
Yep.
okay with that.
And that is the biggest thing, because people beat themselves up based on what other people have to say about how they look. Like, but then you have to ask yourself, why does it matter what because that imaginary they will run you into your grave and make you lose everything, because they is an imaginary figment of people's imagination. They don't exist.
Yep.
That they, because everybody said, well, they said, who is they? Point they out. Like, let they mind your business. They don't matter. Because people have made they a thing. I'm telling you, it's a real person.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't understand.
And then taking that voice, that sort of imaginary voice of they, and like internalizing it, right? It's like they say that I need to lose weight. And then you'll look in the mirror and you'll be the only one in the room, but you're just still like, oh, I have to lose weight because of, somebody said it. And it's like, but that's not even your voice, but you've made it your own voice. Like you've adopted it subconsciously.
Yep. And it's like a whole peanut gallery of voices that you can silence at any moment. So just, cut it off, mute it, change the channel, because it's really sad, because I like, they said I got to do this with my business. Who is they?
Yeah.
Like, they don't exist. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So when you were, I guess first off, would you say that this sort of journey for you, is this a self-love journey? Is this a self-acceptance journey? Like, how would you describe it?
It's a self-love journey.
Yeah.
Because you go from hating yourself, and this is where I think it hurts the most, because hate is such a strong word. But you begin to loathe looking at yourself in the mirror. Like, I didn't want to look at myself in pictures. I didn't want anybody to take a picture of me. I didn't want to. I would always kind of get behind people in the pictures, because even when I was smaller, even when I was bigger, I didn't want people to see me because the criticism. So it was like it's a self-loathing, and it's like, to feel that strongly about something so superficial, it was like a ripple effect. Like, I was not being myself all the time. I wasn't excelling the way I could have, because in the back of my mind, it's like a weight that keeps you in a certain lane, where it's like you can't even move to elevate, to feel the confidence enough to apply for a different position, or to want to advance yourself, because you're weighed down by that one thing. And not loving yourself plays a huge part in how you can advance in your life.
Yeah.
Because you don't love yourself enough to see that you are smart enough, you are good enough, you are worthy enough to do these things, because you're weighed down by not loving yourself. So it's like, it's like cement blocks on your feet, and you can't really do anything. And that's why a lot of people stay in a certain time frame, a certain thing, because of that. And it sucks.
Yeah. And it really does. Like, I love how you pointed that out. It really does impact everything. And I think, I don't know about you, but like for me, when I was in that place, I didn't realize it impacted everything. And it was only after, in hindsight, that I was like, oh shit.
Right.
Like, was it the same for you? Like, did you see that it was holding you down, or was it only after, when you looked back?
I can feel it. I could have felt it then, that I
Yeah.
was holding me back, because I passed up so much stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of opportunities just passed me by. And it was like, dang, and you sit down and you think back, and it's like, at that time, I felt it was right for me to like pass on certain things, because I just, I didn't feel. And it's a sad, it sends you into depression, because you're looking at the things that you want pass you by, and you're worthy. You know that you could have done those things.
Yeah. So where you are now, in this like awesome, really like high vibe, loving yourself place, how is your mental health different now? And how do you care for yourself differently now that you have this attitude of love?
Because I was diagnosed with bipolar, manic, like I have severe depression, and I'm bipolar at the same time, and I have anxiety, and like a whole list of mental health illnesses and stuff. But the thing is, I don't go into such a deep depression anymore. Like, I used to be in the bed, like stuck in bed, and could not get out of, you know, and now it's like, when I feel a wave is coming, I have to talk to myself, and I'm very real with myself, and I motivate myself into, not like, the depression is going to happen. Like, I'm not saying it's a cure all, but I don't fall as deep into depression as I normally would, where it was debilitating, where I'm stuck in bed and I don't do anything. I manage those feelings and I put them where they should be. And so when I have my manic highs, when that's everything is great, I manage that too, because sometimes it's not normal. So it actually, finding this space of love for myself has made it easier for me to cope and see it when it's coming and do what I need to do to kind of mitigate how far, like how the levels will be. So I'm not saying it's a cure-all, but it's a help along with meds and, those things. It actually helps. It's just one of those things, because it's like you're retraining your mind on how to deal with those things, because those things are going to happen regardless of anything. But it's how you cope with it and how you allow yourself to go, to deal with it. So it's like, I think that this was the turning point in me coping with these very real issues that I do have. So yes, that's part of the prescription, that it should be written by your therapist or psychologist. Love yourself. That's one of them. But take the meds though, but love yourself. Take your meds, love yourself. And that should be a part of the script. Like, put that on the thing and tell them to get it from CVS or wherever you get your medicine from. They should put, some placebo, even if you got to feel like you're taking a Flintstone vitamin that says love yourself. Do that. Like, just add that to your daily routine.
Yeah.
I know that's going. Somebody's like, that is so insensitive. I'm telling you, sometimes a placebo, get you a pill bottle, get you some Flintstone vitamins, put a label on it. My love yourself pills today. Take one every day. I'm telling you, it'll do wonders.
Yeah. But I think it's like, I mean, I know you're making light of it, but because you are a comedian and you are hilarious, but I think there's a lot to be said about what you just said though, right? Like first of all, like the level of self-awareness that you have, right? Like you can sort of see it coming, either the highs or the lows, but then also the fact that you, instead of just sort of letting yourself get sucked all the way in and being at its mercy, now you can sort of have that like gentleness and kindness with yourself and talk to yourself through it and be like, okay, we're not going to go all the way in. We're going to do what we need to do. Like, that's such a beautiful way to deal with, like you said, you're going to have this regardless, right? But it's such a beautiful, balanced way to deal with it.
Yeah, because you can't. I realized, like, I was writing something, like I'm teetering on writing an article about being a Black woman and dealing with mental health, because sometimes we're supposed to be strong and all this other stuff, and superwoman, and I'm like, listen, I didn't get that. I'm sorry. That is not me. Listen, I'm a cry and I'm going to deal with this stuff. But there's this whole myth that, there's superhuman strength, and no, like, we have real feelings too. Just because our skin tone, we got a little bit more melanin, it does not, we're not exempt from pain. We're not exempt from mental health illnesses. We're not exempt to that. And it's like that myth. Listen, I can't check that box. I'm just not that superhero, but I mean, I'll commend anybody who wants to wear that, but I'm sorry, my powers, I got kryptonite, I got this mental health illnesses here that kind of make my superpowers just null and void. They don't, but I really want people to understand, like, this is a real thing, and you just have to face it head on, like this. And I think lack of loving who you are and what you plays into a lot of broken, like, women, we're expected to do all this stuff and not cry and be nice and all this other stuff, when some of us are so mean to each other that the criticism I've gotten is mostly from women. Yeah. And it's like, wait a minute, you wouldn't want anyone to do that to you, so why would you? Yeah. And it's like, we fight so much, and it's like, dang.
Yeah. Like, we don't have to. I think that's one reason, like, to be honest, that's one reason I started this podcast, is because, like, I really truly believe that as women, like, we're stronger together. We're stronger when we band together, when we lift each other, when we support each other. And I think to do that, we need to hear each other's stories. Like we need to actually be able to speak our truth in a safe space.
Right. And this is where a lot of times there's women who speak that, but their actions show otherwise.
Yeah.
So we have to truly want to understand each other's stories, each other's journeys, and care. Like, listen, you can tell each other their stories all the time, but if you don't genuinely care, it's just you're just talking into the universe like it's nothing, and it's pointless to do that. Like, it's like we have to truly care about each other, because it's like we all go through so much. And like I would care if you say I'm having a bad day. How can I help you feel better? Like, what can I do? Genuinely care when someone says, I want to, how is your day? And you respond. Like, when someone asks you that, mean it when you ask that. Because some people just ask that just to be nice. I'm not that one, because I'm not going to ask you that and just to be nice. That's not a greeting for me.
Yeah.
Like we have to do better as women.
Yeah, we really do. We really do. Yeah. So how has this then, like this sort of a loving way of being, how has this affected your other relationships? Like you mentioned, like we're talking about women and our relationships as women, but also you mentioned before that you were in a marriage that had a lot of negativity and stuff. So what's transformed there?
Child. I'm in a great relationship now. Like my relationship now is amazing, because I can actually say, this is what's bothering me. We talk about stuff. We express ourselves. We're understanding. Like, we're not just not supportive of each other. We listen. We see things. We're intuitive to each other. Like, and in my relationship with my kids, I'm teaching them so that they don't go through what I went through. I'm teaching them the things to look out for and understand others and have empathy. And, because everyone's like, oh, you're just genuinely a good person. First of all, if you don't teach children to care about other people's feelings, then you'll have a whole, like, what is it called? A whole legion of minions who don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have to teach children to share and to care about other people's feelings and stuff like that, because it's not something that people innately know how to do unless they're nurtured and shown to care and to understand. So it's helped me to be a better parent. It's helped me to be a better partner. It's helped me to be a better friend, because I'm quick in a friendship if it's not what it's supposed to be. Like, oh, I will nip it in the bud. Like, this, nope, not gonna do this, because I'm very vocal. Like, I treat my relationships where, listen, if I'm not fulfilling my friendship role, tell me so that I can either improve or remove myself from your life. And a lot of people are so afraid to say those things. I'm sorry, have the conversation, because you do not need to be in situations where they do not mean you good or they do not feed you in a positive way. Because some people are so used to being in these toxic situations, and it's draining. You know how tiring it is to be around someone who is negative all the time, and you can't express, like, I love you, but they don't see the love for themselves.
Yeah.
No, let that go, because that's worse than, like, once you find the love for yourself, you will notice that you can disconnect from things that are not serving the thing for you, that feeds you with positivity and love, because it's something about it, just resonates through every part of your life. And yeah, I could talk for days on that, because it's like
fair to say it affects every single relationship in every area of your life all the time in a positive way, right? Yeah.
It's like, because once you find that love, you're going to want to love, you want everybody to love themselves too.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, tell us about how this self-love journey has affected you as an entrepreneur. I know you have like so much good stuff happening. So tell us a little bit about that, your entrepreneurship. Where to start?
So I, as a business consultant and publicist, I work with my clients on getting the media, getting them in places, strategically placing them in places that they can get more reach, but I also help them create opportunities as well. So as a publicist, like it's a duality that I make sure they understand, like they're a business and some, they could do more. But I also am big on community outreach, especially here in Stafford, because I'm big on voting. This election is very important here in the US because currently, I'm not going to say any names, we're not looking too good on the world front. I think we have been disinvited to every single event. We can't go to other people's countries. We are currently on punishment as a country. So therefore, I don't want to be on punishment because I want to travel. And we're not invited to none of y'all parties in other countries. So therefore, I think this election is important for us to be invited to other countries again, because we're like, we don't look too good right now. So I think that here in the States, we have to understand that our state and local elections feed our federal. So that's the process here. And I really want people to understand your voice matters. You can't get mad about there's a stoplight that's missing from a busy intersection if you don't vote. So that's how that works. So I just want people to understand, like, voting is very important. So I'm doing voter registration drives. I'm giving information. And, I'm having my clients understand they have to do community outreach as well. Also producing a comedy series that I've been working on for a couple of years because I want it perfect, but I realized that perfection is not attainable. You have to be secure in it, because if you keep going over something over and over again, it's never going to be right. So you just have to put it out there. I'm publishing books. I found my love for writing, so I started a publication on medium.com where I'm just interviewing people and writing about how I feel about things, and people are reading it. And people are listening to the podcast. I had no clue. But yeah, I didn't know I was so interesting. But yeah, so those are some of the things that I'm doing. It's crazy because it's
yeah,
goodness.
Yeah. So before we wrap up, can you just tell us about the photo shoot? Because you told me about the photo shoot last time, and I feel like that's an important thing that we need to tell.
Yeah, I was trying to beat around the bush about the photo shoot. Because I didn't like, because it's one of those things, like, it's like if I talk about it, I'm a go to that place. But yeah, I finally did a photo shoot. It was 2 years ago. The photographer reminded me the other day, where I wore makeup for the first time in a long time, because I used to use makeup as a way to cover up black eyes and stuff, because my marriage was abusive. And wow, like, it was the first time that I finally felt comfortable. Like, if you look at the pictures, like, I use those pictures all the time. He said I need to do better. I got to get more pictures. But the smile that I have on my face and the level of joy that I'm expressing was because I was so excited and ready. And to actually put makeup on, and I had a sew-in and everything, because at one point in time I did have to wear a wig because my hair was pulled out. But to get to that point, to do all of that was it was amazing. It was it was a turning point, because I never had pictures of myself like that. I never did a photo shoot. I was happy with the way I looked, like my weight, I didn't care. I was wearing this amazing kimono, kente. Yeah. The pictures are great. I know I need more pictures, but come on now. You can't. If it's don't broke, don't fix it, but yeah. I was happy, and I actually cried in the car because it was like tears of joy, because I had a full face of makeup on and there wasn't a bruise under it. I was able to wear what I wanted to wear, and I loved the way I looked. Like, listen, I loved the way I looked in those pictures, because the smile that I had, my stylist, my friend who was there, and my friend who was my photographer, they saw that, and the makeup artist, she was like, saw the look on my, I was so, listen, to capture that joy, like, I'm sorry, like, I could keep smiling about it, but it was one of those moments, like, dang, like, goodness, it felt really good. And like, my cheeks are hurting now because I'm smiling so hard because it was a great feeling. Like, I had photo shoots before, like, not like that, but I was able to be comfortable in myself and own it, and I loved it. And it was like, yep.
You went from being a 15-year-old kid who was damned if she did, damned if she didn't, to being in your 20s in an abusive relationship, which
Yep.
I can only assume was a really dark time in your life.
Ciao.
We won't go into that because that's a whole other conversation. But and then here you are now doing a damn photo shoot, full makeup, full confidence, full joy. You used to hide from pictures, and now you're like front and center, like.
Yes, y'all go, because it's, you know what, and I did not want to take that makeup off. I didn't, because it was like, it was so freeing. And then after that, like, I was taking, like, everywhere I could take a picture, I was taking pictures. People had to talk me into taking pictures. Like, you need to take a picture. You need to do this. I'm like, ugh, all right, I'll take a picture real quick. But now it's like, okay, cool. I'll take a picture because it's necessary. But yeah, it felt really good. Like, I'm still smiling to this day. Like, I can't wait for another shoot. Like, I'm so excited because I'm planning it out. Like, I've ordered clothes. I mean, I can fit the clothes right now, but I know I'm gonna fit them later. But I'm excited and I'm ready, and I'm gonna kill it because I love me.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. It's all about the energy, man. And you've got the energy, you've got the feeling. And when you can tap into that, when that becomes your new normal, like, that's unstoppable and that's powerful.
It is. And I was avoiding talking about that photo shoot because I know
I couldn't help it. I had to ask.
Because my face is like, because I knew I was gonna keep smiling and that is an amazing feeling. Like, I'm trying to stop smiling because it's like that you're gonna make me talk about that. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, you told me last time it's not my fault. I had
to. I know. Because it was like one of those things, like, it was a
yeah.
It was a great moment. And I just, wow. Like, I look at these, there's a picture I sent you to use.
Yeah. The pictures that we're using are those, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So everybody, all the listeners will be able to see exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I'm like trying, my face is hurting because I'm like, okay.
Okay, no more smiling. No more smiling. Oh. Okay. So we're gonna get ready to wrap it up. I feel like we could talk about this forever, but I don't want to run on for too long. Yeah. So my sort of question, I like to ask everybody this, and every guest that I have on, because the answers are all so different, because everybody's journey is so different. And that is, if there was one self-love exercise or practice that you would recommend to somebody who's maybe still back in that, like, dark place at the beginning, maybe being really judgy on themselves, if you could recommend one thing, what would it be?
Stand in front of the mirror and tell yourself that you're worthy. Like, just tell yourself you're worthy. Tell yourself, speak whatever positive line you want. Like, speak great things to yourself. Look yourself in the mirror, because sometimes you'll be able, just look in the mirror, look yourself in the eyes and tell yourself you're worthy. Tell yourself you love yourself. Like that, I'm telling you, it will change it. Because, like, I had to go in the mirror, and I know my kids probably thought I was crazy. But I had to have that conversation with myself, because when you look someone in the eye, you make a connection. So when you look yourself in the eye in the mirror, you're going to make that connection with yourself, and you're going to find it. You may cry a little bit, but it's okay. Tears are great. But after you're done, you'll feel so much better. So that's that's how you start it. If you can't look yourself in the mirror, do a video talking to yourself and then play it back. Yeah. Whenever you feel, that you are having a bad moment, go back to the video and, talk to yourself. I mean,
Yeah.
Don't tell your psychiatrist that, because they might. But
You just talk to yourself, just like have a chat with a little person in your head.
but don't tell nobody that can lock you up for that.
Oh, you're hilarious. I've done that too, though. Like, to be fair, that's a damn powerful exercise. And you do sound crazy, so do it when nobody's around. Like,
right? Don't do it in front of public, because
no. it
won't get you locked up.
Yeah, it won't end well for you. Okay, we're gonna leave it there. I'm gonna make sure to have all the links to all your social media and everything in the show notes. So if anybody's listening and they want to get a hold of you, they can easily do that.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being here. It has been an absolute joy to talk to you, and I feel like we need to do this again.
Yes, I do too, because it's like I feel like I've known you forever.
It's pretty great.
Thank you so much, Katie.
My pleasure. Thank you for being here. I hope that you enjoyed that incredible interview with Chandra. In case you are wondering, yes, the cover image for this episode is one of those beautiful photos that she talks about in that incredible photo shoot. If you would like to get in touch with her, find out more about the work she does, or ask her questions, I know she is a very busy woman and she is totally an open book. All of the links to her social media channels are in the show notes. Also, if you would like to listen to her podcast, which is called Conversations with Chan, the link is down there as well. Thank you for being here. Thanks for listening. Here is to you loving yourself.